Everything was blank, including how much time had passed. That realization caused a shiver to run up her spine and back down again. Not knowing didn't sit well with her. One thing she knew for sure. Wherever she was, she needed to get out of here. She braced herself against the floor to push herself up. As she did, she noticed her hands for the first time. The air drained from her lungs. Blood. Her hands were covered in blood. Every crevice. The fine lines of her fingerprints underneath her nails. She scrambled to her feet, panic closing in. As she glanced at her shirt, a small cry escaped. More blood. Just what had she done? All Caddy knew for certain was that it must be something terrible. Chapter 1. Today's goals. Sell ice cream. Mind my own business. Stop dwelling on the past. Cassidy Livingston, known in her previous life as police detective Caddy Matthews, stood on her deck and stared at the angry gray ocean that surrounded the island of Lantern Beach, North Carolina. Dark clouds gathered over the expanse of water in the distance. Meteorologists had promised a doozy of a storm later today. And if the horizon was any indicator, they were correct. Thunderstorms didn't bode well for ice cream sales. And if Cassidy didn't sell ice cream, she'd be forced to sit inside her cottage and count the passing minutes until she could come out of hiding and return home to Seattle. Or contemplate writing that self-help book. Or look for another mystery to solve, which might blow her cover. Those ideas were neither tempting nor wise. She closed her eyes for a moment as memories pummeled her. She'd had that dream again last night. Only it wasn't a dream. It was more memory melded into a living nightmare. Every time she remembered the blood on her hands, she flinched. Her muscles tightening so quickly that air rushed from her lungs. The images would never leave her. Maybe not until she had answers. Except answers might lead to more nightmares. If she could only remember. Fear and worry lead only to weakness. It was one of the quotes from the day-to-glance inspirational calendar her best friend Lucy had given her. Its wisdom was never-ending, and right now, it reminded Cassidy that the last thing she needed was to become weak. Taking another sip of her coffee, she glanced across the street at her neighbor's house, desperate for a distraction from her thoughts. Ty Chambers lived there. The two of them chatted sometimes, but Cassidy had been making an effort to stay away. Something about the man captured her imagination. And that was the last thing she needed or wanted. After all, she was dating Ryan Sampson, even if she hadn't seen him in more than 4 weeks. Before that, they'd taken a 2-month break while she was undercover with DH7. Circumstances had caused the divide between them to feel stronger and wider all the time. But Cassidy had also stayed away because she knew Ty hated liars. When he found out Cassidy wasn't who she'd claimed to be, she wasn't sure if their relationship would survive. Yet she couldn't tell him the truth about who she was or why she was here. She couldn't tell anyone. Only one person knew. Samuel Stevens, the task force head. With her gaze still angled toward his place, she saw Ty step onto the deck and wave. Cassidy's cheeks heated as she waved back, caught staring. Ty looked like he'd just gotten up, in his white t-shirt and with his messy hair. Of course, his hair was always messy, but that was part of his appeal. As he leaned against his deck,